and welcome to Rev Sports. We're building up to the semi-final clash between India and England. The history says 1-1, but tomorrow there will be a new winner from this particular contest and matchup that we've been seeing for a long time in T20 World Cups. Matchday -1, there was an optional practice session here. Only 4 of the players showed up, and among those 4, Varun Chakravarthy was the highlight. He had a special net session under the watchful eyes of Morne Morkel, Ryan Tendoshkate, and also T. Dilip was also there for a little while. We will, and Morne Morkel also in the press conference spoke about it in detail without, he gave us insights but did not give away too many details. We'll try to dissect what really happened there, what the plans could be for Team India, and of course what the pitch is looking like at the moment. Joining me for the show is Shivam Chakravarthy and Rohit Juglan. Shamik, I'll go over to you first. We all saw that practice session, that special single net session that Varun Chakravarthy had. He was spot bowling. Morne Morkel also gave insights into what happened there. He said that, you know, when it comes to Varun, it's always about making sure that he walks away with confidence from his net sessions. He loves those sessions, but he is a trump card for Team India. He is one of the match performers, and Morne Morkel did give one little insight where he said that he always wants to be the best performer in the team and always puts himself under too much pressure and has trouble with the execution. Your thoughts?
That is the buzzword, Gargi. I mean, he is putting himself under a little too much pressure. But this discourse about Varun Chakravarthy being leaking runs, if you look at his tournament economy rate, it is still under 8. So once a spinner, if a spinner is still under 8 runs per over, how can you say he is leaking runs? He is not. Obviously, he didn't look that much penetrative over the last couple of games, and it can happen. Sometimes a bowler can miss his length, he can lose his length. So that is, and today's practice session, I don't think, Gargi, there was, Varun does this practice. I mean, he has, for long, he has been doing this. It's nothing new. And he likes to do that single wicket practice. It's because of his line. And these days, as you know, he doesn't bowl any side spinners. He only bowls over spinners. So from that point of view, now he has 2 kinds of googly. One is that conventional, and one is a finger spun googly. That if you go back to Anil Kumble, I'm obviously not comparing Varun Chakravarthy and Anil Kumble, but towards the second half of his career, Anil Kumble had developed a kind of finger spun googly. Varun is also trying to develop that finger spun googly. The thing is that South Africa game, David Miller, I will not say he gave the world a template, but he showed intent. That before that South Africa game, the majority of the batsmen used to be reverential while facing Varun. David Miller said, no, come what may, I will live by the sword or I will die by it. So I will take the attack to Varun Chakravarthy. And after that, every other batsman is trying to do that. Now, Varun Chakravarthy will have to come up with a plan B. And he is good enough a bowler to do that.
Absolutely. You know, Rohit, Morne Morkel also spoke about Varun Chakravarthy, and he said that he is a highly skilled bowler. He is someone who is very difficult to pick. And what Morne Morkel tells Varun is that if there is a delivery that goes for a boundary, it means that you haven't been able to bowl your best delivery, and which usually happens because Varun puts himself under too much pressure, as Shamik also said. But how are you dissecting this session that he had, going by what Morne Morkel said? What are your thoughts?
So as Shamik rightly said, that it's a very routine kind of thing. It's nothing new, and you know, he's not under any kind of pressure that he's trying to do certain things which he hasn't done in the past. So it is a very routine kind of thing for Varun Chakravarthy, and as Shamik rightly said, that it's not an economy which is crossing 12 or 13 runs per over. So you know, we need to be very watchful around that economy rate part. He's still the highest wicket taker for India. He's in that top 5 list of the highest wicket takers in this tournament also. And you know, the kind of spinner he is, the kind of variations he has. You know, yes, in the last 3 games, opponents tried out certain shots around him, But then he has given you the first wicket in that West Indies game. You know, I was little surprised that why Suryakumar Yadav not introduced him on the very 7th over, because for me it's simple. If you are not getting any wickets in the power play, 7th over should directly go to Varun Chakravarthy without wasting any time, you know, here and there or giving any other bowler. If you are not getting any wicket there. And then in the South Africa game, I was really surprised that if you have taken 3 wickets, then why Varun Chakravarthy, who never bowled in power plays, why he was introduced? Because in last couple of years, you are making things ready for Hardik Pandya. In that particular game, Hardik didn't bowl any over in the power play, not even Washi. Washi you have played in spite of Akshar Patel. And Washi is your new ball bowler, means in the power play. In IPLs, we saw him bowling with that new ball. So no Washington Sundar there, no Hardik Pandya there, but Varun Chakravarthy. So in last couple of games, Indian team has also tried different things with Varun Chakravarthy. So if you are getting things that yes, he's not holding up to the line, or maybe his stock delivery was going out of the park, there could be a certain concern around that the kind of deliveries he used to bowl. My only point is that in last couple of games, he has bowled a little short of line deliveries, where batters are going in the, with the back foot and they are slogging him just away. So today, it's just a routine kind of thing, as Morne Morkel said, that he's not under any kind of pressure. He's still your best bowler. Yes, Bumrah is already there, but he's your number 1 T20 bowler. And teams know this, that if we can go against Varun Chakravarthy and get some runs at the very start, and remember, all the teams did that. All the teams tried to hit him out of the park in the very first over so that they can push this Indian team's attack. They wanted them to try Jasprit Bumrah Ali, because look at the equation. Jasprit didn't play the USA game, and then from Namibia, in that Namibia game, if you see, he didn't bowl any over in that power play. Then in the next 3 games, versus Pakistan 2 overs in power play, versus Netherlands 2 over in power play, versus South Africa 2 overs in power play, and then in the last 2 games only 1 over in power play. So Jasprit Bumrah, they are using him very strategically. But as soon as you hit Varun Chakravarthy, they need to take Jasprit Bumrah into the attack at the very moment, because then he is your last option. If not Varun, then Jasprit Bumrah. So this is very strategically played by the opponents, and we can understand this. But as Shamikta rightly said, there is nothing to worry, so much worry about Varun Chakravarthy, his economy rate. Yes, he's got only 3 wickets in last 3 games, but that's part and parcel of a World Cup journey, or something, which you can relate to with every other batter or bowler. There's little slump, then he'll go up, then a little slump. Until and unless he is performing well for you, he's not under any kind of, where you can see that confidence is lacking, I don't think there is anything to worry about there.
Gargi, just one more thing about Varun. Tomorrow he will face a different kind of an approach from the England batsman, because against South Africa, what happened? That South Africa batting lineup had all-round quality. Be it Aiden Markram, be it David Miller, everyone. They had all-round quality. West Indies batsmen, majority of them are basically strong-armed. They stand and deliver.
Yeah.
That is the thing. English players, except Harry Brook, they don't use their feet.
Yeah.
Harry Brook, he's a tall guy. He can use his reach, and English players will play an overload of sweep shots, either way, conventional and reverse both. So that might play to Varun's advantage also.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I want to talk about here, because we are dissecting Morne Morkel's press conference, is the fact that he said England is a team that is street smart. They bat deep, which makes them dangerous, and they have wicket-taking options. Tomorrow will be a shootout between the 2 dangerous teams, and whoever assesses the conditions well and adapts to it is the team that will come out on top. England is street smart, and I think that's where England will have somewhat of an edge. Of course, India is one of the toughest teams in this tournament. Yes, they haven't had a peak as such where they've had a perfect game, but at the same time, the street smart comment. What is your analysis?
Absolutely, and I totally agree with Morne Morkel that when he said that it's going to be a shootout, it is going to be a shootout, because there is nothing to differentiate between the 2 teams. Now, the fact is that both India and England haven't yet played the perfect game in this tournament. Now, a big runs. England heavy artillery hasn't fired yet. From India's point of view, Abhishek Sharma hasn't fired yet the way we know him to fire. Tomorrow's pitch, I expect it to be full of runs. It will have extra bounce.
Yeah.
Indian batsmen will have to counter Jofra Archer's first spell. because Jofra will bowl at 90 plus and 90 plus on red soil pitches. I wrote in my copy that the ground staff was bouncing the ball on the pitch to check the bounce, and everyone is coming above waist, and that is nothing new with the Wankhede surface. Wankhede surface always has that bit of extra bounce compared to the most of other venues in the country. So that one thing. Otherwise, basically, as Morne Morkel said, it is unusually hot during this time of the year in Bombay, and to ensure that the wicket doesn't become too dry, they have watered it, so it's a bit soft at this moment. Tomorrow, and another interesting thing, they haven't used the mower.
Yes.
What they were doing, they were they're rolling the grass into the surface, and they did a bit of cross rolling also. So what that does, that evens out, that to ensure that bounce is evened out. I expect it to play, to be favorable for the batsman, and I expect a high scoring game. And yes, England are straight smart. You saw that in the last game against New Zealand also. But there is a rider. What Mitchell Santner did, bringing on Glenn Phillips in the 18th over, Surya Kumar Yadav will not do that. What Rehan Ahmed could do against a Glenn Phillips, he will not be able to do that against Jasprit Bumrah, because invariably, if the situation is like that, Surya will bring back Jasprit Bumrah into that act.
Absolutely. And picking up on that, on the wicket, from what we've seen, Rohit, so far today is, like Morne Morkel also pointed out, it's a very, very hot day. When you're out in the sun, it's almost hot enough to bake you. And at this point, they've left the grass because it will help hold the pitch together, then watered it, then rolled it. It will give the pitch that little extra bounce. And Wankhede has been good at bounce as well. Morne Morkel has stayed away from assessing the pitch at this point. He said that because it's been watered, it's a little soft, so it's difficult to predict at this point how the pitch will play, and we will only come up with the combination on the match day. So what are you thinking? Do you think that they're still going to mow it a little bit, but your assessment of the wicket?
So, as far as team is concerned, they won't change anything. I don't think there will be any tinker as far as the team is concerned. The combination is quite set now. We are means one of the only teams, not changed pretty, we were very settled. Apart from that, one thing we changed is getting Sanju Samson at the top and then, breaking down that monotony. Even England did a certain thing. They did something with Harry Brook with his batting position. Earlier it was Jacob Bethel, Tom Banton, and then at number 5 they were going with the Harry Brook thing, but they break down that in that very game versus Pakistan, and suddenly. And then one other thing they did is how brilliantly they used their spinners. When it about playing in Premadasa, it was Rehan Ahmed, and apart from that it was Jimmy Overton who's playing all other games if you talk about their bowling lineup. And there was, I think, one game, the very first game they played, I think against Nepal, it was Luke Wood played that particular game. So they have that kind of variations in their team. But coming to this wicket and coming to the conditions, I think it will be, as Morne Morkel said, we all know, Shamikta also said that there will be that extra bounce, and that will be the key. That will be the key for Jofra Archer. And I did a video for Rev Sports English that, how the matchup, the most critical matchup as far as Sanju Samson versus Jofra Archer, because he was picked by Jofra Archer 3 times in that bilateral series. And after that, he was got out from Shakib Mahmood and from Mark Wood. So it was all the pace around, all other way, the way he was scoring runs in South Africa. We were all in this belief that Sanju could be the factor in this particular series also, but that didn't happen, and that's because of the extra bounce. I remember Abhishek Sharma playing what a brilliant century he scored in this very ground, but apart from that, if you see Sanju Samson, he struggled. So Jofra Archer with that extra pace, if they can come up with another pacer, another good fast bowler, then there could be some trouble for the India as far as with the new ball is concerned, because Wankhede always gives you something, a hint of swing, a bit of movement, some little bounce. You can feel the air. We are just outside the Wankhede stadium and you can feel the air here, and it's about that time when you are going for the preparations, and after that there will be toss, and then it will be the match time around. So yeah, it's a pretty much Wankhede kind of conditions. Yeah, Wankhede, we were discussing, Shamida and me, in the morning, that it's usually very hot at this point of time. It's starting now, the temperatures will go up after Holi. So yeah, it's very normal. Yes, Morne Morkel, he has completed his 10,000 steps while running around ground. I think 5 or 6 laps somewhere around. But yeah, he was used to all of this. I think now he's with Indian team more than a year. So I think yeah, conditions will be similar.
Rohit and Gargi,
Yeah.
I would like to see Jofra Archer bowling his first over to Sanju Samson with a leg gully. First Sanju Samson with a leg gully, and for Abhishek Sharma straight away with a deep square leg, not a backward square leg, deep square leg with against Abhishek Sharma, the very fast over, and a leg gully straight away into against Sanju Samson into the ribs, bounce it into his ribs, and
What Neil Wagner did with Steve Smith.
yeah, and give him a bit of a chin music.
That was actually
Perfume
going
ball.
to that was actually going to be my next question. Do you think Jofra will take on Sanju Samson with the short ball? But you've answered that. The other thing that has a lot of focus at the moment and has been at the center of conversation for at least 6 to 7 months is the catching efficiency of the Indian team. Asia Cup, we've seen what happened. England tour, we saw what happened. In the white ball Australia series also, there were a lot of catches that were dropped. And of course, throughout this tournament as well, India has let go of the most catches among all of the teams that has played the tournament so far. So Morne Morkel said that, he did say that we as the management are doing everything we possibly can. What more can we do? But the players need to go out there and take responsibility. He also said that it could very well be a mindset thing, and that's not his prerogative to comment on. But at the same time, it's the players' responsibility to take those catches.
And it's been an ongoing saga,
Yeah.
Gargi, as you rightly mentioned. In England, over the 5 Test series, India dropped 23 catches.
Yes.
Then came the Asia Cup, 12 catches were lost.
Champions Trophy 9.
Champions Trophy 9 before that. In this tournament,
13.
13 catches already. So when this kind of a thing happens, you have to ask the question, is it pulling the team down?
Yeah.
Because so far, you have escaped. So far, you have escaped because, the batsmen and collectively the batting and bowling fired. But there might be a day when you might suffer badly for such kind of profligacy.
Yeah.
So, and when you are playing a semi-final, there is no room for such profligacy. If you look at these individuals, individually, they are not bad fielders. There are a couple of weak links, obviously, in the team. Otherwise, they are not bad fielders. Could be mindset thing like Morne Morkel said, because under pressure, it is a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
Or could be like they're catching drills. They're catching drills coming from T. Dilip. That is not contributing them to become better fielders.
I think just want to add a point in it. I also think that, the positioning of the fielders is very important also.
Yes.
Like in Eden Gardens, if you're putting an extra cover position and giving the guard to Varun Chakravarthy, that's not his position. Extra cover, covers are the position where you need your top
Best
fielders there.
fielders.
Means, in my childhood, I used to see Mohammad Kaif, standing there in that particular position. It would be, your Yuvraj Singh and then Mohammad Kaif. And then later on, the Suresh Raina was there. So it was a complete ring kind. Virat Kohli used to stand in cover areas. So I think it's a very critical position. When Varun Chakravarthy missed that run out, he completely threw. Roston Chase was there. It could be a very easy run out if the ball was in Sanju Samson's gloves or a direct hit, but didn't happen. And then Abhishek Sharma. Okay, the placement of Abhishek Sharma is not bad. He can field there in the deep area. But I remember this from the New York game, the T20 World Cup game. Shivam Dube in the fine leg area, or I think in the third man area, and we all know that he is at that point of time. I'm not talking about Shivam Dube of now. He was little late with his legs onto that ball. So in that particular area, you have to pick your fielders really well, who has strong shoulders and strong legs to contribute in the benefit of the team. So I think the positioning of the fielders, I never seen Jasprit Bumrah fielding in point, but it happened during the Asia Cup. So I'm not questioning that Jasprit Bumrah can't field in point position. But my only point is, are we putting our best fielders in their best positions? That's also my point.
Yes, but Rohit, one more thing is that you raised a valid point. But fielding is 70%, 80% about anticipation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you look at the all-time greats,
Yes.
I am putting out the reference of two all-time greats, all-round fielders. One is Mohammad Azharuddin, and another is Mark Waugh. How many times did you see Mohammad Azharuddin diving or Mark Waugh diving? They didn't need to. Their anticipation was so good, they didn't need to dive.
Exactly.
So anticipation, and that comes from within. That is something natural. I don't think this Indian team has that kind of. You mentioned Yuvraj Singh, Suresh Raina, Mohammad Kaif. They were a different league as far as outfielding is concerned. Yuvraj, you in this team, they don't have a single fielder who can match Yuvraj or Raina or Kaif.
Yeah.
I am not even
Jadeja.
Even Jadeja,
Jadeja,
obviously,
of course.
100%. Jadeja is world class. So there is not even a single fielder who can, and I am not even going into the Azhar or Marcos territory. So that anticipation somewhat lacking in this team collectively.
Absolutely. The other point that I want to talk about, we spoke about the pitch, but there is another guest here who will come and grace us tomorrow during the match, which is the Dew. Who's a regular, what?
Shabnam, it's called.
Okay, in Hindi. Yes.
It's in Urdu. ओस कहते हैं हिंदी में.
Os.
Urdu.
ओस
Okay.
ओ पे बिंदी भी है. ओस.
Got it. But yes, Dew, yesterday also we saw that Dew was setting in. Morne Morkel was pretty confident in the fact that there will be Dew and the toss will be decisive. This is the first time we've heard someone say that toss will be decisive, because I remember in Ahmedabad, Surya Kumar Yadav was asked about the Dew and he said toss
won't be a factor.
No, toss won't be a factor, he said, and is not a factor in T20 cricket. That's what he said. That was his entire answer. But Morne Morkel said that toss is not in our control. Only thing we can do is apply ourselves, but Dew will be a huge factor in this game.
So I think.
Ek minute. As you drew an Urdu analogy, let me ask you in Urdu also.
My God.
कि कल मैच में शोला राज करेगा या शबनम?
शोले मेरे हिसाब से तो शोला और सबनम में शोला ही राज करेगा. But it's a wonderful picture if you can go and watch. Govinda was fantastic, Chunky Pandey was fantastic, and Anupam Kher was hilarious. So coming to the point, as Gargi asked, I think Dew, I don't think it will be a very big factor, because yesterday I was here. I think Gargi was also there, and Hardik was hitting the ball quite straight, and in our arc where we were standing just beneath the media stand, and there was the side screen, and I was able to collect multiple deliveries, because they were hitting it towards us. And when I was collecting them, the only focus is that how wet is the seam and how wet is the outer surface of the ball, and it's not very wet. And I'm talking about 10:30, 10:30, 10:45, somewhere around that point of time. And I remember watching the same thing in Chennai also, where I just wrapped my hand in the ground and then Shubhanda clicked the picture, and it was pretty wet at that point of time. And then the similar thing we were trying to do in Kolkata, but because they don't allow us going there, we just asked the ground boys that is there any kind of dew. And similar thing happened yesterday here also, where we asked the ground staff boy that can you check, go into the 30 yard and check there that is there any kind of dew. So he also said that dew wouldn't be, that bigger a factor. And when I was collecting the ball also at that point of time, I saw that, it's not that wet. So I don't think it will make a huge difference as they did in Chennai, where they spread certain kind of chemical which they bought from USA, and it was pretty useful. And I think that will be a huge part for the IPL coverage also, that during the IPL, if they allow that kind of thing, I think it will be very balanced as far as game is concerned. So I don't think Dew will create such an impact. But bowling first, in this wicket, the freshness of the wicket, the sea breeze, and the kind of assistance Wankhede gives to you, I think it won't be tough for bowlers to bowl, in that breezy evening. So it will be good.
Okay, so
Gargi, as far as I'm concerned, tomorrow toss is not going to be a factor. I don't expect too much dew. And as far as I'm concerned, toss is because if you look at these two teams, they don't choke. Neither India nor England, they choke while chasing. They are the rare two teams who are equally good in terms of setting up a score and chasing. There are certain things. South Africa, superb team, great team. But once they are up against a big total, once they are up against scoreboard pressure, they have had a tendency to choke. South Africa, we saw that 2 years ago at the 2024 World Cup final. The game sat in their dugout and they choked South Africa. So, yeah, but England, we saw the way they chased. I was there at Pallekele and saw it firsthand. The way they chased down 164 against Pakistan in pretty difficult conditions at Pallekele. Harry Brook played a gem. So, these are and India also. India will not choke. Even if India are facing a big target, Indian batting will not choke because they have enough confidence in their batting lineup. So, as far as I'm concerned, tomorrow toss is not going to be that much of a factor.
Okay, Pranit Datta has sent us a super chat. He's saying, Shola Shabnam mein chunky nahi tha, that was aankhe.
Sorry, my bad. If that's the problem.
Okay.
Why did I
now that
remembering
we've cleared that up, very important here. But the other factor here was, and something we've also been talking about, Shivam Dube. The question was very straightforward. His loss of form was the question that was asked, and Morne Morkel had this smile on his face and said that it's not a loss of form, it's execution issues. And that he also said, let's be honest, teams will go after Shivam Dube,
obviously.
but he has to get his execution right.
I don't think that will be a huge problem because it's just one game, and one game could be here and there for any bowler, any kind of bowler or batter. There must be some execution issues, but I love the way Shivam Dube looks desperate to bowl in any kind of conditions. I remember in Asia Cup also, he was there. That's why Gautam Gambhir have that confidence on him when he said, Surya Kumar Yadav in our very own interview said that, Gauti bhai told me that he will bowl our first over in the finale because Hardik Pandya was not there. He was unfit at that point of time. So I think from there to here, and I remember Morne Morkel doing a lot of, backdoor stuff with Shivam Dube, spend a lot of time with the kind of bowling plans. And I remember similar thing I've done with Nitish Kumar Reddy also. And Nitish, the bowling in, the bowling qualities of Nitish Kumar Reddy since then were very much on the inclining side. But for Shivam Dube, last 1.5 years, everyone can, this is not for me, this is not for us, this is for all of you guys. You can also vouch for the kind of, the change in the arc of Shivam Dube's bowling. He was, he again carrying a similar kind of speed, but the way he was bowling in those kind of surface where it sticks a little bit, where it holds on a little bit. Yes, in this kind of condition, I don't think he'll be your that kind of bowler who can give you all 4 overs or maybe a 2-3 overs. I doubt him in these kind of conditions, but in certain areas where it sticks a little bit, where it's hold a little bit, where you can use the cutters, I think he can be your go-to bowler. So yes, we have to still, a lot of improvement have to be done as far as Shivam Dube is concerned, but I don't think there is much of a problem with Shivam Dube, the bowler, especially in last 1 year, what we saw him delivering for India.
Okay,
just a second.
Yes.
Rohit, Shivam Dube can spend 18 hours at the nets every day, but there he as a bowler, he will continue to blow hot and blow cold because that is what bit part bowling is about. One day he might be out of this world.
Yes.
But there will always be a game where he will concede 46 runs in 2 overs because he is no Bumrah. He is no Mohammad Siraj. He is no. That is the case because he is no Bumrah. He is not a specialist bowler. I mean, he is a bit part bowler, and it is not a case in isolation. It is not only for Shivam Dube. If you look at every bit part bowler, they might be a match winner on a given day, but.
Fahim Ashraf Rana in Pakistan.
Exactly, absolutely. And that 2 overs, 46 runs things will always be just around the corner.
Yeah, for very sure.
Okay, final couple of minutes on the show. There is a super chat here. Pranit is saying it's almost as if Shamikda wants Sanju and Abhishek to fail. Are you supporting England in the semi?
I'm not supporting anybody. I'm not supporting India. I'm not supporting England. I'm a reporter. I'm not a supporter. So I'm giving reporters assessment that if I am absolutely, I'm not an India supporter. I'm not an England supporter. I'm a reporter. I'm not a supporter. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this. I wouldn't have this badge if I am not a reporter. So the fact of the matter is that I would like to see once again, because it doesn't matter. I like to see good cricket, and what I said is part of good cricket. Start in the very first over with a leg gully and give Sanju Samson lift it around his rib cage and give him a bit of chin music. And against Abhishek Sharma, plays a deep square leg, not a deep backward square leg.
Okay, I'm looking at if I've missed anything from the Morne Morkel press conference. So I'm looking at the things that he spoke about. Okay, one point we missed, Abhishek Sharma, and he basically said that it's a similar situation that Sanju also went through ahead of the World Cup, and he said that it's a good growth and learning curve for Abhishek Sharma as a young batter. It's a fresh page for him tomorrow, and he has the opportunity to go out there and do something.
Yeah, so there were a couple of parts to that question.
Yeah.
The first thing was about his form, and then the journalist included the drop catches also, and it directly related to the confidence of a particular player, because Abhishek Sharma is not one who you can say that, oh, he drops many. Yes, there was an instance in Asia Cup during the India versus Pakistan game, I remember clearly. But apart from that, I've seen him in Sunrisers Hyderabad, I've seen him for Punjab, I've seen him, his almost all of the phase of his cricket, but he's not someone who you can say that he is a very dibbly-dobbly kind of a catcher, or someone who can drop catches very regularly. He's not one of that. So he is your gun fielder, and that's why when you talk about your fielders in the deep, especially in the last overs, he was the one who will be fielding in those deep areas. But it has something to do with the confidence rather than a skill set, or he was not doing the reverse cup, these kind of things. It's not related to that. It's only related to the kind of confidence, and because it's a World Cup, it's not a bilateral series. It will give you a different kind of pressure. In bilaterals, you perform, you not perform, it's different thing. But in World Cups, there is something which you can call a different kind of pressure, which in last means just before winning the 2024 T20 World Cup. I think what we always say to our team, that what happens to this team, they played really well in bilaterals, but just coming into the semis or a final of a global tournament, they didn't able to cross that mark. So that's what we call a pressure thing, which not being taken by one of the greats of the game. You talk about Virat Kohli for almost 10 years. Rohit Sharma was also part of that squad. Hardik Pandya multiple tournaments. Jasprit Bumrah multiple tournaments. Ravindra Jadeja was part of that squad. There were multiple players, but that's what I think is the problem at this point of time. It's not a problem of skill set or a technical thing or something which you can relate to. It's just about the kind of pressure World Cup brings to you, home condition brings to you, and suddenly test you with a different kind of questions. But in Chennai, he delivered a certain kind of innings. I want him to give himself a little bit of time, play 10 deliveries for you. In the next 15 deliveries, what you will deliver for India, no one can replicate that. So that's the message for Abhishek Sharma.
Rohit and Gargi,
Yeah.
for the first time in a very, very long time, India are going into a World Cup semi-final or the semi-final of an ICC event without Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. For the first time. And when Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli are there on the field, it's a completely different thing. So tomorrow is a test of character for this Indian team. Whether they can hold their nerve under pressure, and whether they can prove their mettle under pressure. Because when about 40,000 fans would be rooting for you at the stadium, and about 1 billion outside, there will be pressure, and there will be pressure to perform. This is this Indian team's coming of age moment.
Absolutely. On that note, we'll take your leave. And on a closing note, I will also say that Morne Morkel has confirmed that yesterday's delay was because of the lunar eclipse. Because a lot of us reported on it, and a lot of us got a lot of flack for spreading fake information and this and that, but that was absolutely true. We wouldn't say something unless we know exactly what is going on. So that's what happened. And
Well done to Gargi.
thanks. but yes, you can talk about matchups as much as you want. You can talk about batting, bowling, skill assessment and all of that. But at the end of the day, when it comes to a World Cup semi-final, it will come down to who handles the pressure better. On to, more things. Of course, we'll come back at around 9 p.m. and give you more updates on what happens in the England practice session. I think the team must be coming in or must have arrived at the stadium at this point.
Press conference has already been
done. Press conference has been done.
5:15,
Yeah. So we'll give you all the updates of that as well. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back very soon.
Shubhana's there, I think.